How do you get 200,000 soldiers to show up for war without horses, a written alphabet, or even the wheel? For the Inca Empire, this was just another Tuesday. At its peak, the Inca Army was a colossal state-sponsored force that dwarfed European armies of the same era. Forget chaotic mobs, this was a meticulously organized machine, built on discipline and logistics. Imagine coordinating the movement, food and equipment for a group the size of a modern city, all through treacherous mountain terrain. The Incas managed feats at altitudes that would leave most people breathless, conquering and integrating a vast territory from Colombia to Chile. Their success was no accident, it was the result of a system so efficient it feels almost modern. The Inca Army was the engine of the empire, connecting every road, storehouse and village. Their power didn't come from superior technology, but from unmatched organization and logistics. The Incas ensured their soldiers were the best fed, best equipped, and best organized force on the continent. This wasn't just an army, it was the backbone of an empire. The backbone of the Inca military wasn't a weapon, it was the Great Inca Road or Capacnan, stretching over 25,000 miles. This hand-built network connected the empire from humid coasts to freezing peaks, allowing troops to move at speeds unthinkable for their rivals. Paved with stone, lined with walls and featuring suspension bridges, these roads let armies march in formation and supply trains follow. Relay runners or chasquis stationed along the route could send messages up to 150 miles a day, faster than a horse in the Andes. The Sapa Inca could coordinate campaigns across his vast domain with astonishing speed. These roads were more than infrastructure, they were symbols of Inca power and order. For soldiers, the road was a lifeline, ensuring they arrived ready for battle, not exhausted. The system gave the Incas a strategic edge, letting them respond to threats or launch campaigns before enemies could even mobilize. The road network shrank the empire, making it governable and tightly controlled. It was Inca order imposed on the wild chaos of the Andes. The Incas took the idea that an army marches on its stomach to a new level. Along their roads they built massive storehouses called kulkas, stone complexes stocked with freeze-dried potatoes, dried llama meat, quinoa corn, clothing, and weapons. These were placed every 10 to 15 miles, so soldiers didn't have to carry their own food. At the end of each day's march, troops would rest and resupply at a tambo, fed from the nearby kulkas. This logistical system let the Incas field huge armies for long campaigns without draining local resources. Some complexes could feed an army for months, and the surplus doubled as insurance against famine. The Mita system powered this. Every citizen contributed labor, much of it to farming state lands and filling the kulkas. The food you grew might feed a soldier hundreds of miles away. This cycle of production and consumption was coordinated from Cusco, turning the empire into a logistical powerhouse. The Inca army conquered with potatoes, corn, and organization as much as with weapons. Their greatest weapon was a full pantry. Logistics gave them reach and staying power no rival could match. The empire's strength was built on supply as much as on force. The Inca arsenal was practical and perfectly suited to the Andes. No steel swords or armor, just stone, wood, and copper weapons for close combat. The sling or huaraca was a deadly tool. Trained slingers could break bones from 100 yards away. Battles opened with volleys of sling stones followed by disciplined advances of spearmen and club wielders. Clubs tipped with stone or bronze, short spears and axes delivered overwhelming force. Soldiers wore quilted cotton armor, wooden shields and simple helmets, effective and easy to produce. The army was organized by weapon-type slingers, spearmen, clubmen, each with a specific battlefield role. This allowed for tactical flexibility and efficient deployment. State armories issued standardized gear, ensuring readiness and uniformity. The Incas proved you don't need advanced technology to dominate, just the right tools and disciplined soldiers. Their arsenal was simple, but devastatingly effective. Inca tactics blended brute force, clever maneuvering, and mastery of the terrain. They rarely charged head-on. Instead, they set traps like the classic double envelopment, pinning the enemy with a central force while flanking divisions struck from both sides. Surprise attacks from hills or valleys broke enemy formations and morale. Reserves often circled behind to cut off retreat, aiming not just to win, but to annihilate. If direct assault failed, the Incas settled in for a siege, cutting off supplies and waiting out defenders with their superior logistics. The psychological impact of a massive, well-fed army camped outside was immense. High ground was always a priority, slingers could rain stones from above, and downhill charges had extra force. Discipline was key. Soldiers held formation, responded to horn and trumpet signals, and executed complex maneuvers. Their tactics were shaped by the landscape, making them masters of Andean warfare. Patience, discipline, and strategic use of terrain made them nearly unbeatable. The Incas didn't just fight, they outmaneuvered and outlasted their enemies. Their battlefield success was built on planning and adaptability. That's why they ruled the Andes. The Inca army was a strict hierarchy, not a chaotic mob. At the top stood the Sapa Inca, the emperor and supreme commander, often leading campaigns himself. When absent, a trusted general, usually a close relative, took command. The army was organized on a decimal system, squads of 10, companies of 100, battalions of 1,000, up to divisions of 10,000. Each level had its own commander, making it easy to pass orders and maintain discipline. This structure mirrored Inca society. Every household was part of a group of 10, then 100, and so on. Civil officials became military officers in wartime, so soldiers fought alongside neighbors and leaders they knew. This fostered loyalty and cohesion. Orders and reports flowed efficiently up and down the chain of command. Quipus, knotted strings, were used to track men, equipment, and supplies, creating a detailed census without writing. This meticulous record-keeping was the administrative backbone of the army. The result? A disciplined, organized force with clear leadership at every level. The Inca command system was as formidable as their army. The secret to Inca manpower was the Mita, a system of mandatory public service. Every able-bodied man owed labor to the state farming, building, or serving in the army. When war called, each province provided a quota of soldiers, selected by local leaders. Service was rotational, so men could return home while others took their place, keeping the economy running. On campaign, soldiers were fed, clothed, and armed by the state. Their families were cared for by the community. This reciprocity built loyalty. Serve the state, and the state supports you. The Mita allowed the Incas to mobilize millions without crippling agriculture. It turned the population into a disciplined, ever-ready military force. The Mita was the engine behind the empire's relentless expansion. The Incas knew the best battle was the one never fought. Their conquests often began with diplomacy and intimidation, not violence. Emissaries offered local rulers a choice: join the empire peacefully and prosper, or face overwhelming force. The benefits were clear: protection, respect for local gods, and continued leadership under Inca authority. Lavish gifts and displays of military might drove the point home. Most rulers chose peace, awed by the sight and sound of tens of thousands of disciplined soldiers. If refused, the Incas attacked ruthlessly, making examples of resistors. Captured religious idols were taken to Cusco as hostages, ensuring compliance. This blend of diplomacy, spectacle, and calculated brutality let the Incas expand rapidly and efficiently. The Inca army was the engine that built and sustained the empire. Each conquest brought new resources and manpower, fueling further expansion in a powerful feedback loop. Newly conquered people were quickly assimilated, their men soon serving as soldiers. The army and economy were intertwined. State labor produced the food and goods that kept the military strong. Roads built for armies also unified the empire, enabling trade and communication. The army wasn't just for war, it was the glue binding the empire together. The Incas saw it as their divine mission to unite the Andes under one rule, language, and religion. Their strength came from organization and logistics, not just brute force. For over a century, the Inca army was an unstoppable force, true masters of the Andes.